Communication barriers are the various obstacles and hurdles which arise in between of an effective communication, leading to misunderstandings and misinterpretations by the receiver. In the above example, noise was the communication barrier. Noise plays an important barrier to effective communication. Imagine you want to pass on some information to a person standing next to a blaring mic. Do you think the sender will ever be able to interpret it correctly? Do you think the receiver in this case is to blame? In this case, because of the blaring mic, the information will never reach the person in its desired form. Any presentation or speech delivered in a noisy classroom or auditorium is pointless as the information would never fall on the ears of the listeners. Try sharing some information with your friend in an overcrowded bus or a noisy market. Correct information will never reach the recipient and he would never be able to interpret it correctly or respond accordingly. Here, noise is an external communication barrier and it results in the distortion of the message. Unorganized thought. Unorganized and haphazard thoughts also are instrumental in poor communication and a very important barrier to effective communication. Mike to Mona Lisa. Please come at 2 p.m. Okay, not to come at 2:30 p.m. instead. Fine, let us freeze it for 3 p.m. Mona Lisa is bound to get confused as Mike himself is not clear about the timings. The sender must pass on crystal clear information to the receiver. The sender must first be himself very clear what he wants to communicate and then only begin the conversation. Abstract ideas, haphazard thoughts lead to an ineffective communication. First know what you have to communicate and then only speak. Wrong interpretations again play a very important role in miscommunication. An information can be wrongly interpreted by the receiver, leading to a complete mess. It is the responsibility of the receiver to give proper feedback to the speaker and clear all the doubts before ending the conversation. Don't keep things within yourself. Ask if you are not clear with anything. Not understanding the receiver. The boss once wanted to address his young team. Don't you think all the young chaps will lose interest after some time? That's the importance of understanding the recipient. Don't just prepare a speech, learn more about the culture, habits, thought process of your listeners. The sender must understand the receiver first and then pass on the information. If a sender is sad and you want to give him some exciting news, he will neither respond nor understand, and hence the effective will for sure get nullified. Not understanding the receiver again is a barrier to effective communication. Ignoring the content. Only one should lay emphasis on the content of his speech. The content has to be clear, crisp, and above all interesting. Don't just speak, take some time to find out what you are speaking. Find out whether the content is relevant or not. During presentations, the speaker must use interesting words, funny one-liner to capture the attention of the listeners. Don't make your speech monotonous, otherwise the listeners after some time will definitely fall asleep. One should be smart enough to understand when to crack a slight joke in mid of a conversation. It really works. Don't just speak for the heck of it. Understand what you are speaking and try to make it more interesting, crisp, and above all relevant. Avoiding the listener. Imagine yourself attending a seminar where the speaker is simply reading from his notes and for once has not made any eye contact with you. You will never be able to relate with the speaker and hence never bother to find out what he wants to convey. Don't just go on, create a friendly atmosphere and then start communicating. Don't just come to the point. One can ask you questions from the listeners like what's new, lovely weather, or even use compliments like wonderful crowd, enthusiastic group. Don't avoid your listeners. Make an eye contact with them to effectively communicate. Let us try to understand how one can improve communication skills in day to day life. Effective communication is the process of successful transmission of the message from the sender to the receiver. If the receiver is able to download the message in exactly the same way as the sender intended to do, communication is effective. The receiver must understand what the speaker wants to convey and accordingly must give his valuable feedback or simply respond. If any of the participants, whether the sender or the receiver, is not clear about the content of the conversation, the communication is said to be ineffective. Effective communication not only plays a key role in organizations but also in one's personal life. An individual is not born an individual is not born with an effective communication. It comes with due course of time and of course through lots of practice. The golden rule to an effective communication in day to day is to listen attentively. A good listening power goes a long way in improving the communication skills of an individual. Don't just speak, also listen. Try to grasp new words, correct pronunciations from your friends and other people. If you feel you are pronouncing a particular word is not the desired form, don't hesitate or feel shy. Instead, learn from others the correct way. Remember, there is no limit and age to learn new things. One can do it almost every day. Gone are the days when television was considered an idiot box. Who says one can not who says one cannot gain anything while watching television? While watching any talk show or an interactive program on television, don't simply stare at the pictures only. Instead, keep your ears and mind alert and try to follow the participants' accent, selection of words, the flow of words, and gain as much as you can. In any conversation, listen carefully what the other person is speaking and then only respond. Never speak at a noisy place. Avoid communicating at overcrowded buses, marketplace, construction sites, railway stations, busy streets as noise overpowers the actual content at all such places. Speaking clearly and properly is the mantra to an effective communication. Never keep your thoughts within yourself. Instead, put your ideas in a sensible and meaningful content after carefully selecting to the words. Remember, selection of words is of almost importance as any wrong word can distort the message and change the meaning of the sentence completely. Don't keep half of your thoughts in mind. Always speak clearly.